Okay, these are my finished images that I made from the Cricut Lite Live Simply cartridge. And I guess I wanted just to say something before you start watching the videos that I've made, and that as far as I'm concerned, these images are more an advanced construction, and there's a lot of details to these, and they have to fit a certain way. And I found a lot of things that made it difficult to make these. The other thing is the handbook is very small, and in terms of the pictures, and it's hard to interpret how some of these pieces go together. So some of my recommendations would be to keep your images on your paper, on your mat, until you're ready to place them to where they belong, because they come in the order in which they go on. For an example, the flowers that I have down here at the bottom, the way they're constructed, they go just like what the handbook has. And for instance, the flower will go, the first one that you cut out will be the first one that will be in the next layer, and then the shifted layer. So if you keep them on your mat, it's easy to know how they go back together. It's kind of like doing a difficult puzzle without having your picture in front of you. So I hope that some of the videos that I've done help you somewhat, so that you know what you can do differently. So that's just my preview for making these images. Hi, I got the new Cricut cartridge, the light ones from Walmart, and I thought that I would add some embellishments to my daughter's flower book. And I thought, I got a little crazy and decided to pretty much print off all of them at the same time. And that's what you're seeing right here. And I started out with cutting everything out in cream, and I cut them out in 1.5 inches and 2 inches. And one of the things that I have learned is that the tiny pieces that come with a lot of these don't seem to work really well with 1.5 inches. I don't even know if you can see any of the teeny tiny pieces that are there. They're like, I'm assuming that some of these are eyes, center of flowers, and I'm just finding this to be a little bit difficult. So what I ended up doing is I have put these all down like this, but then I also, when I went to print out another color, I thought this is going to be too confusing to try to figure out what goes with what, even though I followed down the handbook for each figure. I just decided to go ahead and leave the one set of images right on my Cricut mat. That way I know that they're in order from the handbook, and I'll be able to figure that out easier. I should have thought about that when I started with each color, and I didn't. So this is an experiment, and I'll try to share with you as much as I can as I'm making these. Okay, so I just laid out my very first image, and it's kind of a nightmare in a way. Once you get down to the layers, they are so tiny. There's a good chance you could lose some of those pieces, and to get them in the correct order in terms of what's up, what's down, what's left, what's right. Unless you have patterned paper, it's probably going to be a little bit hard. But then with a patterned paper, you couldn't probably see it anyway. At any rate, this is the main image, and I did cut it out in cream. And this is the shifted main image, and I cut that out in a dark red. This right here is the layer, the first layer. And then this, which is very tiny, is a shifted layer. And you can tell those are inch squares on there, and you can see how tiny that is. Not only that, but in the handbook that you're given, they are so tiny that you can't even make out really what they are. And you could probably break them into your gypsy and enlarge them to see what they look like. But as far as the handbook goes, it's not really helpful to know what those pieces are. But I'm going to go ahead and make this so you can see how this works. Okay, so I just added the shifted main image to the main image. Okay, I'm getting a little bit frustrated with this. The pieces that are supposed to be there for the body don't really match up very well, and because they're so tiny, every time I touch them, it's like tiddlywinks and they jump back off. And I really recommend for you to put both layers on there at the same time to make it's kind of like a puzzle piece to see if they fit or the way you want them before you start gluing any of the pieces down, because as you can see on this one towards the bottom, that piece just does not fit no matter what I did, and it's supposed to be down there at the bottom from what I can tell from the handbook. The other thing that I've used to try to keep these places, some people might use tweezers, but these are very, very tiny pieces. I am starting to use this quick stick because it's got a sticky end to it, and at least I can pick it up and put it down. And I'm also even trying to use my paper piercer just to keep it, because it isn't sticky, to keep it down once it does get glue on it. So these images aren't as much fun. They're really cute, but there's a lot of work for them. Maybe somebody else can have some tips as to what they do, but 2 inches seems to be an issue to try to get this one to work. And the 1.5 inch one is even more difficult. Another tip, I made a mistake right there on the head. There's a definite difference from the left and the right, and the one antenna is very thin and it needs to be on the right, and I put it on the left. But we're going with this. It's going to be fine for what we're doing. Just wanted to let you know. Okay, I just finished putting all of the pieces on my butterflies that I created. They're really cute in the end, but like I said, if you want your body to look perfect, don't plan on that, because those pieces just don't fit together that way. So they're a little bit more crafty looking. Again, I decided if I didn't want my flowers to be cream, I could always color them in with a colored pencil, or I could have changed each color when I went to make all the images. But for me, it was just quicker to go ahead and make cream as my base. There might be some that I have to change out, but this seemed to work out fine for me. For the entire flower, I did use just the fine tip. I didn't need the fine ball tip, and I didn't need the chisel. I was able to do the entire thing using that. So that's it. It's all ready for my project. These are the punch out from the butterfly wings, and I've decided that I'm going to go ahead and save those and probably use those little pink centers that came with the circles, and have some flowers extra. That's it. Here's another tip. I found that I was able to put my pieces in the correct order, and if it was left or right, because the pieces are so individualized, by keeping my silhouette and looking at those for my pattern, seeing as the handbook images are so small. So this really helped me with the placement of the body. This is flower number 1 from Live Simply, and I cut it out again in 2 inches and 1.5 inches, and this is cream. And then this is the main image, and it's the shifted image, and I cut it out in a dark pink. And this is the layer 1, and it was in a green, and then the shifted layer, and it's also in a green. I just added my shifted main image to my main image. The petals are not uniform, so you might want to match them up before you put the glue on, so you put them on the right way. I just added the layer and the shifted layer to the flowers, and I decided to use those flowers that were from the butterfly, and I'm going to put those in the center of the flowers to give it a little bit more character. Okay, I just added the flowers from the butterfly to the center of these flowers, and they're all ready for the project.